Is I'm live? Am I live? I might be live. Okay, let's assume I am live. The air conditioning just turned on, of course. So I don't know what you can hear, but I'll move my microphone closer. Okay, so so first of all, welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. Now, the question was how to become a real estate investor with bad credit. So we'll talk about what a real estate investor means and how bad credit can affect you. So the truth is, the only time bad credit affects you is if you're getting a loan from a bank, um, which doesn't apply in most real estate investing. Well, some real estate investing. So what I do is I go into contract with sellers. So I market to them and people that are likely to sell, and I try to get the property under contract for a discount. And I then half the time wholesale. I'll just assign the contract to another buyer, and sometimes I close on it with hard money lenders, and then rehab it or wholesale it. So the lenders I use don't really require good credit. Now there are hard money lenders. A lot of hard money lenders are going to check your credit. Let's talk about what a hard money lender is. I didn't explain that. So a hard money lender is a lender that's going to lend based on the expected price after a property is repaired. So they're going to do an appraisal. You're going to give them a scope of work and say, I'm going to fix these things. Property is going to be worth X. They're going to do an appraisal based on you fixing those things, and they're going to lend you a percentage of what the value of that property is based on what it will be, and they will usually give you money for construction. Some hard money lenders do not check credit. Some of them do. Now, if you want to get a conventional loan with a Bank of America or Wells Fargo, you're going to need to have good credit. They're not going to lend you with bad credit. But if you're getting a hard money loan, and there are thousands of hard money lenders out there, some of them require credit checks, some of them don't. So, if you are buying and holding a property, right? Um, so let's talk about what residential and commercial. So residential property is 1 to 4 families, right? 1 family, 2 family, 3 family, 4 family. Commercial property is anything more than 4 units or anything that's not specifically residential. So office, medical, um, warehouse, that is commercial. For commercial loans, most lenders are going to require a credit check. But they are more lenient on the credit because the property itself, the income from the property, is seen as the primary source of repayment for the loan. Okay? So that's why the net operating income, how much income a commercial property has, minus all the expenses and a vacancy allowance, assuming they assume that sometimes everything will be occupied, that's more important than the income of the borrower or even the credit of the borrower. So, on a residential property, 1 to 4 family, even if it's an investment property, even if I'm telling them I'm not moving in, the borrower is seen as the primary source of repayment. So even if I'm buying a 4 family, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but if I'm buying a 4 unit that I'm not moving into and I rent all 4 units, the borrower, because it's in residential world, is still seen as the primary source of repayment. But if I'm buying a 2 unit office, then it's in commercial world, and the net operating income of the property is seen as the primary source of repayment. So, having good credit helps because in most situations, even with hard money, they're going to check your credit. But if you are just wholesaling, which means you're going into contract with a lender, with a seller, the seller's not checking your credit. Has no idea about your credit. And if you're then going to just assign that contract or double close it to another cash buyer, nobody's checking your credit. So you can go into wholesaling. You don't need any credit whatsoever, to be honest with you. But one of the big advantages I have, and one of the big advantages that I think successful real estate investors have, even when wholesaling, is that I have the ability to close. I can close on that property. And if you are just wholesaling without the ability to close, which a lot of wholesalers are, they go in there and maybe they have bad credit, maybe they have no money, maybe they don't know what the hell they're doing, maybe they don't have any exit for the property except to find a buyer and make a quick $4,000, which actually happens. In New York, the average wholesale fee is about $35,000, but there are places where smaller dollar amounts equal smaller assignment fees. If that guy doesn't have the ability to close, usually it's going to put them at a disadvantage. First of all, as an investor, if you don't have the ability to close, you're going to have a heart attack if anything happens with your buyer, right? And things happen with buyers all the time. So I have a student that just bought his first property, he's rehabbing it, but he got it from a wholesaler, and the wholesaler sort of screwed up in that the assignment said represented that to my student, who's the end buyer who's going to rehab it, that it would have to be with broom clean. But the agreement, the contract with the seller did not say that. So we had a question of whether we were going to hold him to it to make it broom clean or not. I think he chose not to, and I think it's probably a good idea. He's going to do major renovations to it anyway. The fact that it's not clean doesn't matter. But I've been screwed on situations like that where I screwed up in the middle, and then the buyer said, you agreed to do it, you got to do it. So that pissed me off a little. I may or may not sell to that person ever again, but I had to clean up the property. So understand that as a wholesaler, you're in the middle, right? And it can be stressful because if the buyer starts flaking out on you, doesn't return your call, starts saying, I can't close, whatever happens, starts moving the dates, you are representing to the seller that this is going to close at a certain time under certain terms. You sort of get stuck in the middle. But credit, not an issue whatsoever when you wholesale. Doesn't matter. No one's checking your credit. No one cares. So very easy to wholesale deals with bad credit. I'm not going to say it's never easy to wholesale deals. It's always wholesaling is a simple business but a difficult business. But credit is not going to be a factor whatsoever. If you are actually taking title to the property and you're closing on the property or taking it down, as people say, then you got to understand that you should talk to a bunch of hard money lenders and say, is my credit a factor? And some of them will say, well, what is it? Some of them will say no, and some of them will say absolutely. So if you have bad credit, you want to find the lender who doesn't care. And that I would do, as soon as you got a deal lined up, because if you need to close on it, you want to make sure you have an outlet for it. Now, understand, even on a hard money loan, you need to put up a chunk of cash, because most hard money lenders, before the pandemic, they were lending 90% plus 100% of construction. Today, it's harder to get that. Certainly harder if you don't have good credit. Certainly harder if you can't show a track record. So you may have to put up 20, they may only lend 80% or even 70%. You may have to put 20 or 30% of the purchase price down if it's your first deal. If you're an experienced investor, you should not put down more than 10% plus closing costs, which are significant in New York. Right? I average about $10,000 in closing costs. So you put 10% of the purchase price plus the closing costs, plus you need some money to start the contractor out, because when the hard money lender pays you for construction costs, they pay it in arrears. So they want to see work done, and then they'll pay it. So you need some money to start the contractor off, and you need money to make monthly payments on the interest, which you're going to have to pay every month. So it's not unusual to get into a decent-sized rehab deal, and even to have a lender lend you 90%, and still you're going to need about $100,000 in cash. So understand that. It doesn't have to be your money, but somebody's got to have it. You can partner up with somebody. So another way to partner up, if you have bad credit, is to partner up with somebody who has good credit, and usually use their credit to borrow in any of the situations we discussed about, whether it's to speak to the hard money lender or whether it's dealing with a conventional lender, if that's the way you're going to go about it. So partnering up with somebody with good credit can be helpful. Now, they are clearly, one side brings something to the table that the other side doesn't have, right? And it's the credit gives you the ability to borrow money in possibly a cheaper way, and certainly a different variety of ways you can get money. So it's important to understand partnering up with people is usually a good deal. I have a bunch of students who partner up with me in situations, because what gurus don't tell you out there is that when a seller says, yeah, I'm willing to sell it to you, they very rarely say, oh, I'm going to sell it at any price right away. They usually have a number in mind. It may be that's a number they have to pay off on a mortgage, or maybe that's a number they need to go wherever they're going. Maybe that's a number they just have in their mind. And it's not easy to know when you're starting out whether that's a deal or not. You're just not going to know. So partnering with somebody like me or somebody else that's experienced, I can look at a property and tell you pretty quickly, if you give me an idea what's needed, I can tell the work that's needed, or if you give me pictures, or if I get inside, I can tell you right away, it's a deal at this number, and it's not a deal above that number. So that is another really, really good reason to partner up with somebody like me. Sorry. So one of my students, I got to call him back. So I hope this was helpful. Again, bad credit won't affect you if you're wholesaling, unless not being able to close is going to affect you. If you want the ability to close, speak to a bunch of hard money lenders and see which ones don't care about your credit, because there are some that don't. And if you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in finding out more about a course I teach, the course I have that teaches what to do, what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. And if you are interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching, which is still absurdly cheap, I got to raise the prices, you can go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any platform, please hit the thumbs up. The thumbs up, the likes really help me. And please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. I don't always know what to say. There are no bad comments. It doesn't have to be about the video you're watching. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply to it. If it's something I've covered before, I'll send you links to the videos. And if it's new, if it's a new topic or something I haven't covered in a while, I'll do a new video on it. Thank you very, very much for watching.